Welcome to Mine Explorers, episode 57,
Woo!
where I'm back in the studio with my co-host and ex-wife, Crystal Burgess.
How you doing?
We are coming off of weeks of trade shows.
3 weeks of continuous trade shows.
Yes, so we attended SME, the Society for Mining, Metallurgy, and Mineral Exploration. That was here in Salt Lake City and had about 7,500 attendees, just shy of that from what I heard. We came back from PDAC or PDAC, depending on how you like to say it, which had a record-breaking 32,000 attendees, and the whopper, the ConAgg, ConExpo, at the Las Vegas Convention Center, which had 140,000 attendees.
That's insane.
Yes.
They were projecting 130 and they got 10,000 more. It's wild.
Huge shows, so lots of turnout.
You attended that show.
I did. I attended SME and ConAgg. We sent Amanda and Jenny to PDAC.
Yes, I politely declined that show this year.
Yeah.
It's a doozy.
It is a doozy.
It's interesting. But ConExpo, so that one happens every 3 years and it's part of the NSSGA. What's a quick recap? Like, what are...
Yeah.
You can't see everything at that show, but how was the excitement?
Yeah. So it's worth noting that it's the ConExpo, which is the big global construction expo show. And then they combined it many years ago with the construction aggregate show. So it's ConAgg, ConExpo. I haven't seen official statistics, but I would guess that it's an 80-20 show. 80% of the people there are in construction, everything from like landscaping contractors to like people who paint homes.
Oh, wow.
To, heavy civil contractors and ready mix, asphalt, all that.
That makes a lot more sense because I always thought it was like sand and gravel crush zone type of construction aggregates. Yeah. But okay, so you bring in more of the... So it's ConExpo/ConAgg. Right.
They're two shows that they combine together, and it is like an 80-20. So construction is huge, but if you think about it, like a lot of GCs and general contractors do both, or they do the whole spectrum.
Right.
So they're involved in aggregates as well. Ultimately, all of the clients, so all of our clients that produce construction aggregates sell to, they're either vertically integrated or they sell to ready mix and hot mix asphalt plants, and their customers are all the contractors. Unless they're vertically integrated, then there's some that are all three.
Wow.
They pave the roads, they produce the asphalt and the cement, concrete. Some of them produce both, and they own the quarries. So it's a big show, but in terms of like relevancy, so like 40 to 50,000 were relevant to what we do.
Right.
And then the rest is just a lot of operators, guys who run excavators, trucks, graders, people who paint homes that do landscaping. Like it's the whole spectrum.
Yeah, it's a huge location in Vegas.
And the big topic, not surprising to anyone, is AI, automation, technology. I got to sit in some of Komatsu's new smart machines.
Ooh.
That have all the screens and the cameras and the layouts, and they're smart, so they guide themselves, they grade perfectly, they'll cut a bench perfectly.
And these are the types where you sit in a control room and then you monitor the machines as they work?
Well, those are semi-autonomous. These, you actually sit in the machine, but the machine does a lot of the work now.
Wow.
So it's like just flying an airplane.
So you're just monitoring?
On autopilot, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then lots of new machines unveiled. Everybody is big on autonomy and smart machines. John Deere, Hitachi, Komatsu, Cat, they're all in on it. In the aggregate space, smarter machines that are aware of, maintenance needs and track their efficiency and all those other things from, all the big producers, equipment manufacturers. So yeah, it was a big show.
Cool.
Yep.
That's cool. Now, do you think that there's real optimism for the construction aggregate specifically, that market, or do you think it's just kind of
So
ebb and flow? Because what we've been seeing is kind of at this steady, if not declining a little bit, but I don't know. People have lots of different opinions.
yeah, so I did my outlook for the year in the beginning of the year, and it's holding up really well.
Okay.
So I haven't changed my opinion. So I'm seeing what I forecasted, and that's that we're in a K-shaped kind of economy where housing and some of the light commercial is declining with interest rates and affordability and things like that. And then on the flip side, heavy industrial, data centers, hyperscalers, manufacturing, things like that are on the up. And then, of course, we're still at the tail of the Infrastructure and Jobs Act, so there's still that spending. So there's kind of both. But overall, volumes are declining a little bit, steady to declining for aggregates in general across the US, and prices are continuing to appreciate. So revenues are staying the same on slightly lower volumes and higher margins. So overall, the companies are pretty happy. Huge appetite for M&A and acquisitions.
Oh, yeah.
There's still a lot of that going on.
Yes.
Yep.
For sure.
It's not a secret that construction aggregates are a good, profitable business. And now there's a lot of capital looking to get into that space, whether it be private equity or, we're even starting to see some institutional funds take interest, family offices, things like that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, so now moving over into the metal side, so PDAC was also during that same week.
Yes.
We couldn't send you to both, so we sent Amanda, your wife,
Yeah.
to that one, and attendance was up, which is always a good indicator of how sentiment is.
Yeah, Amanda, my new and improved wife.
Yes, thanks.
She's less bossy sometimes. Not always.
Depends on the day.
Yeah.
But okay, so thinking about the metal side, I
Yeah.
mean, even SME was a good indicator. There was a
Yep.
lot of buzz, a lot of excitement. How do you feel the industry is, what direction are we heading in?
Yeah, so it's been a tough few decades for junior miners. There's been some ups and downs in the, around 2010, 11, there was an up. Things really tapered into 2015. Things started to improve around 2020, depending on what you were in. Lithium got really hot, other things. But for junior miners right now, capital is starting to knock on the door again. We're nowhere near frothy, nowhere near the general public being really excited and buying into junior mining companies, but they are able to raise money, and I'm seeing a lot of their ability to raise money is very dependent on the jurisdiction they're operating in.
Right.
So US projects, way up, really good, capital's being raised, money's being spent, juniors are acquiring projects from project generators, they're raising money and doing exploration. The majors are sitting on lots of cash and waiting to see what happens. So they are not as frothy with the critical minerals thing. And when I say that, I exclude like copper and silver and things like that because they're continuing to invest in that.
Right.
Copper is very long-term, very bullish.
Well, it's things they're already doing too.
But like things like antimony and tungsten and beryllium and fluorspar and these minerals that are critical minerals that are not historically mined in the United States, especially at scale, the majors are not buying any of that stuff. They're sitting and waiting. But the juniors are able to raise money to develop those projects, which is great. Gold and silver projects, not so much. We're not seeing the capital come down, but I'm seeing the mid-tier juniors and maybe some of the juniors with single assets that are quality assets are starting to see some love in the markets. They're starting to get some traction, which is really good, but not a lot of M&A activity. Like you've noticed a lot of the big deal flow is cooled heading into this year.
Yeah,
even with gold and silver prices climbing, but a lot of the volatility if you're sitting on a pile of cash and you see all this volatility, it's a good time to sit and wait and see where prices stabilize at. And once we've kind of established, okay, this is the new floor, here's the new range we're in, or things start to really make a leg higher, then you'll see M&A activity pick back up.
Right. Well, we've been seeing some of the majors looking at merging as well, but so far nothing's followed through.
Yeah. Barrick is talking about spinning out their North American assets.
Well, it sounds like there's issues with Barrick and Newmont now, too.
Newmont is not happy about that because they'd like to see them put more care into improving Nevada gold mines, which would be the star asset.
Right.
There's that. There's other talks here and there, but a lot of stuff it's cooled a lot over the last month.
It really has.
We were seeing a lot, and I think the volatility is not helping.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's all over the place.
Yeah, lots of volatility. I mean, 10% up and down days in commodities.
That's rough.
It's not good. I mean, today oil was up 30%. Or 20%, and then down again and down 10%, and there's a lot of that. And oil, of course, is, energy is such a huge input to the commodity, so that's just whipsawing the S&P and what's going on. And then, of course, with margin calls and things like that, people are liquidating. Big groups are liquidating their gold and silver positions to cover. Provide liquidity for other shortfalls. So we're seeing a lot of that there, but the metals, gold and silver in particular, and copper really have largely held their ground. They haven't done a huge major correction. They've definitely corrected since January, but I think they're shaping up nicely to do another leg higher, but it may take a week or two for that to happen.
That's still pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think copper, with just the amount of demand, it's on an upward trend, and the amount of supply that we currently have is just not enough.
Yeah.
That's something we've been talking about for the last year or so.
Yeah, and copper is fickle because there's huge demand. Energy, all the energy infrastructure that's getting built, all the data centers that are getting built. Data center construction surpassed office construction for the first time ever in the United States.
Really?
Last week. They're
Wow.
building more on a square footage basis. They're building more data centers than they are office space.
Interesting.
Yep. And you think about it, like a lot of existing office space is going to be converted to data centers if it fits, some of it smaller, some of it bigger, but
There's going to be a lot of vacant office space coming in the near future.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep, and I don't think that'll surprise too many people.
They were building it like crazy, and half of them were vacant anyways.
Yep. So there's that, but with the war in Iran and the hornet's nest being kicked in the Middle East and the potential for broader conflict, and what's going on with oil prices, that creates demand destruction for copper at the same time. So copper booms and copper demand excels when economies are doing really well and they're growing and they're building. And, we had this super cycle for 20 years where China was driving commodity prices, consuming everything, iron ore, copper, everything, rare earths, you name it. And with oil prices rising, and particularly some of China's key sources for oil, Venezuela, Iran, you could see higher prices there, cooling growth, which is negative for copper. So we're kind of seeing both at the same time. Could just be temporary, could just be a blip. Looking at the volatility in oil prices, it's largely just following headlines. Trump says, we're going to do what it takes till there's regime change.
Right.
And oil spikes. And then he says, we're ahead of schedule. It's going to be over before you know it. And oil tanks. And so a lot of volatility. But
yeah,
the long-term copper trend with electrification and data centers and everything else is very much intact. But this could delay or expedite it. War consumes a lot of materials.
Yes, it does.
And Trump said he wanted to quadruple munitions production. I don't know how feasible that is, but for many of the metals, that is extremely bullish if it comes to pass.
Yes, absolutely. Especially if we're actually being serious about wanting to produce or mine it in our own country.
Right. Especially if there's a, hey, we're going to 4x munitions production and we want it in the United States and we want to source domestic
The fast
materials.
41's not going to cut it.
Yeah, because we need an enormous amount of tungsten, vanadium,
Everything.
iron ore, copper,
Uranium.
silver. Yeah.
Yeah. And the
Huge.
permitting process is still exceptionally slow.
It is. Yep. And we're seeing improvements, but it's still exceptionally slow. And along the lines of like exploration permits and adjudicating mining claims and all that stuff, we're still as bottlenecked as ever, and that's going to get way worse.
It is. I mean, I think one of the bigger problems is we're just so understaffed in that federal agencies.
Yep.
Right? And you don't have a lot of educated people who understand the process, so you get different regulations in different states.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about the land law examiners, and there's not a school for that.
No, you create them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have to be trained by experienced land law examiners, and you have to set up that infrastructure, and it's a long term. I mean, to be a competent land law examiner, I imagine that's 3 to 5 years of really heavy hands-on experience and mentorship from an experienced land law examiner.
I mean, I think about my own landman, and it's like I tell my team, it's like we do not hire landman, we create them.
Yep.
So we have to hire somebody who's good at GIS because we need that foundational level of knowledge. And then we need a strong attention to detail and somebody who wants to know it.
Yep.
Because you still need that desire to learn, so you pay attention. But then it's still a 1.5-year process.
Yeah, the attention to detail, that's what I was going to say. That's huge. Attention to detail, ability to use GIS. Yep.
So
and
yeah.
Then,
so
tenacity, right? Sometimes you've got to chase things down a ways to figure out what's going on with some of these land laws and orders.
If the federal government was serious about it, they would hire some of these AI agencies to create their own AI bot to speed it up. But even still, I wouldn't trust it.
There's bigger places to start with that. But like a good use for AI would be like permitting review.
Yeah.
Does this permit check these boxes?
Yep.
What are the red flags? And then manually go through and look at those.
Oh, yeah. No, it's interesting, just the amount of resources that we're going to need to keep the economy going and keep everything else going. But so in our last episode, we had a good conversation with Mark Travis. That was super fun. And he was talking about something that really caught the internet's attention is the amount or the price of uranium that he's speculating of $100 a pound.
1,000.
No, you wrote on here.
Well, it's nearing 100.
It's nearing 100 right now.
But he thinks it should be around 1,000 based on a CEO in the uranium space that he follows.
Right.
And that's based on the amount of energy it contains compared to coal. So it's like, here's the price for this many tons of coal, and then here's how that converts to uranium. And it's like 3,000 tons of coal equals 1 pound of uranium for energy potential.
Yeah,
it might even be 30,000. It's a huge number, but he thinks based on that, the uranium should be $1,000 a pound. But today I checked, it was about 85. And so we're nearing 100. And, it had a good climb, and now it's kind of tapered off and it's bouncing along. But following the general AI narrative, there's a lot of volatility in that space too. Like looking at the hyperscalers who are building these big AI centers and how they've got their circular thing going with CapEx and orders from each other, and these massive CapEx that are getting revised up and down and around. And so that's not helping with the uranium. And then it's also just hitting that there's so much talk about small modular reactors and new plants and bringing old plants online and expanding capacity and building out the power grid across the United States. But to substantially, that's future demand, to substantially impact today's demand, those projects need to get built.
Right, they need to get funded, they need to get permit, they need to get approved.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the permitting is very difficult. I mean,
right now it's all
permitting
speculation.
a mine is difficult. Permitting a major nuclear power plant is
because you still need to permit the mine so you can get the resource, and then you have to permit everything else.
Yep. But I had a tweet on X. I guess we still call them tweets.
Sure.
X on X. I had a post on X of a clip of Mark Travis talking about the $1,000 pound uranium, and it was the best one I've ever had. It got like 15,000 views and 200 likes and a bunch of reposts and stuff. So obviously hit a vein there. There's a lot of uranium bugs out there. So yeah, it's interesting. But his math makes sense and it checks out. But in terms of getting there anytime soon, I don't know. But I think most uranium producers would be really happy with $100 a pound consistently.
Yeah, stability.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
At least for now, right? And then in the future, it can go up.
Yeah. But they need to get their feet under them first.
Yeah. Another thing that Mark said that I really liked, that I think resonated really well, was the new road days.
Yeah, new road a day.
New road days.
Yep.
He likes new road days when you go try a new road.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's a lot of the fun that we lost along the way building the business.
Yeah.
Because you and I, every single project, every single day was a new road day. Like almost literally every single day.
Almost, yeah.
Was a new road day, because we were just we were rappelling into mines, and we would go to one mining district and rappel 5 or 10 mines, and then go to the next district and go rappel down 5 or 10 shafts, go in the adits, the stopes, everything. And we saw all sorts of cool stuff.
Same with the claim staking too. That's why our guys love it, is because they're always out in a new project, always out looking at something new.
From Montana to New Mexico.
Yeah.
And everywhere in between.
And everywhere in between.
Yeah.
Sometimes even Alaska.
Yeah. And the tools. Simon and our field crew are going down to Kingman Minerals' Rosebud project. They just put out a press release the other day, and they're rappelling in and doing a bulk sampling program. And then, in 2 weeks, they could be in a helicopter somewhere doing claim staking and dropping posts off in the middle of the forest. You never know. So it's really cool. But that new road days saying I really liked, because it reminded me of that. And the nice thing is, with these things booming and everything going on, I've been doing some desktop work as well and kind of picking up some spare capacity, kind of shifting hats a little bit from consulting, which I've been really heavily involved in for the last 4, 5, 6 months, shifting hats more to geology and landman and actually doing desktop research and stuff. And it's fun because I've got to go out and have some new road days. So I've had a few this year. I'm leaving again tomorrow. And a lot of the project, I'm going to be in an area I've been before. But then I found 2 new AOIs that I'm going to go look at those are new road days.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I get to take Pepper too.
That's good. Take pictures.
Me and Pep, we're going to get it done.
Yeah, good. No, I miss those days too, but
I try to get you out and you're way too busy.
Well, it's not about being busy. It's about what are the priorities, right? It's because, it's good to have the cornerstone in the office so I can make sure that our teams are executing, which they are.
Right.
But, sometimes you got to think about the long-term goals of the company too.
Yeah, and we're in a bit of a transition, and we've been working hard to, following up on our great conversation with Brady McLean about A players and building an A player company. And he said A players can be really expensive, and you think about the cost of an A player, But then you look at what an A player outputs and you think about the cost of not having an A player on your team.
You think about the cost of having a B or C player, and it far outweighs the cost.
So we're working on either replacing people in the company with A players or taking some of the B and C players and upgrading them to A players. And it's been an ongoing process for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
But as that picks up more momentum, I hope you can come get out in the field a little more and see stuff.
No, it's about making priorities. You just picked the week of my offsite, so. Yeah. But
I don't get to choose. I don't get to pick where the minerals are, and I don't get to pick when and how to go look at them because it's determined by
gold
what's
is where
going
you
on.
find it.
Gold
That's
is
what
where
they
you
say.
find it.
Well, I think with that, that's about all we had on the agenda.
Yeah, so 3 big shows we hit. We hit SME, 7,500 people, PDAC or PDAC, depending on how you like to say it, 32,000 people, and ConAgg, ConExpo with 140,000 people.
It's unreal.
And with that, the next show that I have that I'm very excited to speak at and participate in is the FGIM, the Forum on the Geology of Industrial Minerals, which is hosted by SME, and it is in Charlottesville, Virginia, and it's in mid-April. You can still register. It's open for attendance, and that show will have less than 100 people at. It is a small, intimate group. We will have a good time.
Very specialized.
Basically, I mean, not entirely, but like most of the people attending will be speakers or participants in some way.
Right.
There'll be more, but like for every 3 people attending, at least one's going to be speaking.
So they hosted one last year in Salt Lake.
Yes.
Correct? Right.
Yep.
And it was mainly focused on pozzolan.
It was the big focus.
It was the big focus on pozzolan.
But it's all industrial minerals, but pozzolan was the flavor of the day.
Is there a flavor of the day for this coming show?
This is exciting. We have a really good mix.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a little bit of everything. We're talking about rare earths and recovery of minerals from heavy sands. And we're visiting Atlantic Strategic Minerals in Virginia. We're going to actually look at their processing plant and see how they do that.
Cool.
We're talking about like slope stability and high walls, so like some rock mechanics stuff. I'm talking about pozzolan and my pozzolan adventure over the last year, which I have a ton of data and information on. And then I'm talking about claim staking in the West at Tom Newman's request. Tom's
Fantastic.
Great. He's been a geologist with Amrise Wholesome for 30 years. He thinks that they're going to eat it up on the East Coast because it's so foreign to them.
Right. Well, they don't
claims.
have federal lands out there. It's all private.
Right. So I'm doing that. But then we have the whole variety.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of overlap in what's being discussed.
That's fun. You should try and do a podcast out there. That'd be awesome.
Oh, it'd be great. Some of our guests, previous guests will be there.
Yeah, because you said Richard Bishop will be there.
Is presenting, yep.
Should do an interview with
From
Tom
Virginia
Newman.
Tech,
That would be.
And Tom will be there, and Tom would be.
That'd be a hoot.
Excellent. Yeah, I should actually reach out and try to schedule some of those ahead of time.
Fantastic. Cool. Well, that'll be a good show. I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, and then
your
after
recap.
that, I think I'm probably forgetting some things. I know there's the AAPL has their Land Institute that Amanda will be attending. But then, we get a gap for the summer because that's exploration season and everybody's out. But then we have Ag Nexus coming up. Too.
Right, and that'll be in September.
Yep, and we will definitely be filming there and we'll have
absolutely.
some great guests again. So
yeah.
And we're over a year, by the way, with this show.
Woo!
So thanks to everyone who watches and supports. Our view counts seem pretty low on a lot of the videos, but I run into people all over the place that watch the show. So
people are recognizing our faces, so it's something.
Yeah, they're like, "You're that Mine Explorers guy." It's like, yep. I had an Australian say that that went to the SME. He's like, "I swear we've met before. I know you from somewhere." And then it clicked later, and he sent me a message, and he's like, "I watch your videos. That's how I know you."
Awesome.
So,
that's so fun.
Yeah, thanks for the support. We really appreciate it, and we will see you next week.
Like and subscribe.
Yes, definitely.